Adventure Vloggers Shop Series. My name's Seamas, aka the Vintage Adventure Vlogger, and today we're just going to kind of do a little quick tip for you at home that want to take a little bit better care of your vehicle. Now, in our last episode, you saw us doing some work by doing an oil change on our 04 GMC Sierra here. Well, another thing that's great to get in the habit of when you're working on any kind of vehicle, especially when you're doing the oil change, is to make sure you keep up with lubrication, because nobody ever has enough lubrication. What we're going to do here is we're going to use the Pneumatic Grease Gun, which is over in the corner. We're going to hook it up to our compressor, and I'm going to do a time lapse showing you guys putting the nipple onto the filling holes and greasing up this truck. Alright, there's several different grease fittings we have to get to. Some are the control arms, some are in the drive shaft. We're going to do all of them, and I'm going to show you guys some time lapse. Now, we're going to do our standard precautions as we do this. We're going to use our hydraulic floor jack to bump this thing up. We're going to use our jack stands. We're going to use our jack stands to help support our jack, because we never want to just use a hydraulic jack in case it fails. So we're going to be using these, the compressor, and as we're working in any high pressure equipment, we're going to be using eye protection and hearing protection, because we want to protect our ears and our eyes. We're also always wearing gloves just to help you get either better grip on what you're working with and to keep your hands from getting cut up and dirty while you're working. Alright guys, but first, let's take another look at our project vehicle.
Here we have our project car of the week. This is my father's 2004 GMC Sierra 1500 heavy duty crew cab with short bed. I'm going to read you off some specs here. This is how we usually do the project car of the week. This has a 350 cubic inch displacement 5.3 liter V8 gas engine in it. It's one of my favorites, the Chevy 350. Has a 4-door, 6-passenger capacity with the short bed. It's a 4-wheel drive with shift on the fly, automatic, heavy-duty, electronically controlled transmission with overdrive. It gets about 15 miles per gallon in the city and 18 miles per gallon on the highway.
One of the pieces of tech that I want to talk about that we use in the shop here, this is called the Pneumatic Grease Gun. Now this is very old, this is my great uncle's, and it's a hell of a piece of equipment to have if you're doing a lot of work like this, which I tend to do. A lot of suspension and front end work on my vehicles and my family's vehicles. Basically what this is it takes your standard handheld grease gun that you can pick up at Home Depot or Advance or Napa or wherever, and adds it to a compressor, and it actually has a tiny compressor here on top that's powered by our main compressor. So we take our big boy over there and we connect him up to here. You probably heard him you'll hear him running in a second. Alright, we connect him up to here. There's a tiny little pump in here that pressurizes this. If you notice, there's different latches here, so this thing kind of looks like a pressure cooker, and it pressurizes the oil in here, and then in the middle of this is a little shaft and a pickup. So as that gets pressurized, it forces all that grease up and then out this hose. So when you use a grease gun, what you do is you locate your grease nipple, which I'll show you when we go over to do the upper control arm, okay? And then this is a grease fitting. Or this is a grease fitting filler. So what you're going to do is this goes on your grease fitting, right? And just snaps on right like that. And this one is adjustable, so you can kind of swing it around to where you need it, okay? You swing it on, and then you pull this here trigger, and it's quite stiff, all right? And you pull this trigger, and then it forces grease up through the bottom of the drum, up through the collection pipe, and then up into this hose, and then that fills up your grease fitting. This is a great piece of technology to have. They are expensive if you want to buy one, but if you're doing a lot of work like this, they're an invaluable tool to have.
So as you can see, we're coming in with the end of the pneumatic grease gun here. We've already cleaned our fitting, and what we're going to do is take this and we're going to put the end right there on the grease fitting nipple, and off camera here I'm squeezing. After holding it in place, I'm going to squeeze down and start to add grease. Now for any of you doing this at home, if you either have a pneumatic grease gun or if you're using a handheld grease gun, you're going to keep pushing, forcing more grease into the hole until you see a little bit of grease coming out of the sides. It starts to squeeze itself out. This is going to tell you that you've filled it up completely and it's starting to overflow, which is exactly what you want on grease fittings. Now I'm just pulling it off here and I'm checking it, and just there we go. And I'm going to wipe off the rest of that excess grease, and I'm going to move on down below. The next part of this video, I'm going to shoot a little time lapse while I do the rest of the grease fittings. Now I'm going to show you all of them, and I'm not going to get up close. Grease fittings are different. Most of them are in the standard locations of your upper control arms, lower control arms, ball joints, tie rod ends, most of your steering and suspension systems, and at your final drivetrain. You're also going to want to check your U-bolts as well, your U-joint, and that should give you everything you need for greasing your fittings.
There it is, guys. That's how easy it is to do your own lube job on anything on your vehicle. That's not just your suspension or your front end, that's anything. Now, I didn't show you a lot of what I was doing because they're different on every vehicle. Now, most of them have them in the same places, like the ball joints, the control arms, any slip collars on drive lines. So I did the drive line on this. I did a lot of other parts like the ball joints, the control arms. So you need to refer to your own vehicle's manual. Like me, I'm a huge fan. I like the Haynes manuals. Okay, I have one for my pickup truck, my father's pickup truck, and just about every vehicle we have in the family. They're an invaluable, really cheap investment if you want to do your own work and save a lot of money on your car. Anyway, this is a new channel that I'm starting up, okay? This is episode 2. If you look at the one before this, there's a really basic guide on how to change your oil. What I would like to do is put out a bunch of really simple, easy tips and tricks on the shop series videos, just so people can learn how to do their own work in their own home or in their own driveway on their cars, so that way cars don't seem so scary and mystical anymore. Another part of this channel is going to be me doing motovlogging. I have a 71 Honda that I absolutely love, and you're going to see me doing a lot of riding on that, where I'll just do vlogging, I'll talk about different things, cars, my thoughts on what's going on in the world and what I'm doing myself, okay? If you guys have any questions, any videos you'd like to request, leave them in the comments. I check them up for 1 week until the next video is released, then you're going to have to move all of your comments into the next video. Anyway, I hope you guys can get turned from couch potatoes into car professionals to your heads in no time if you follow this little series. Have a nice day, and I'll see you around.